Welcome to TravelDine. Today we're joined by the Global Officer of Brand and Marketing of the largest hospitality company in the world, Marriott International, which this year celebrates its 93rd year in business. The company has more than 7,400 properties operating across 30 brands in 35 countries and territories. Across their luxury portfolio alone, they have 8 brands, 430 properties in 65 plus countries. In 2019, the gross fee income for the company was $3.8 billion, which was a 5% increase on the previous year, and their RevPAR was up by 1.3%. At the end of last year, 2019, they had a total of 750,000 employees. If you look at rooms by segment for last year, 30% of the hotels were full-service hotels in North America. 37% were limited service hotels, also in North America. Asia Pacific accounted for about 16% of the total number of hotels, and the rest of the world was about 17%. Today, I have a great pleasure to welcome Tina Edmundson to TravelDine. Tina joined Marriott International as the SVP and global brand leader for the lifestyle brands just over 12 years ago, having spent the previous 5 years with Starwood Hotels Resorts, which of course in 2016 was acquired by Marriott International. After 2 major promotions in January this year, Tina was appointed to her current role, that of Global Officer, Brand and Marketing for Marriott International. Tina, welcome. So here we find ourselves in the middle of a pandemic, or at least we hope it may not be the middle. We hope we're further along than that, but we're in this terrible time across the world, and it's affecting everybody in hospitality and everybody in tourism. How are you managing at Marriott with the pandemic? I mean, are all the hotels back open again, or are you opening and closing hotels?
We are opening more hotels every day. You know, at the height of the pandemic, I would say about 25% or thereabouts of the hotels were closed, and it's different in every region, as you can appreciate. Mm-hmm. Right now, I want to say in the US, we are less than 5% closed. So we've opened for the most part. It is different in different parts of the world, as I mentioned. Europe, I want to say we still have 18 to 20% closed, and that will change as government regulations change. Right. So we're monitoring things very closely, obviously looking at government regulations and then looking at what's happening in the sort of micro geographic location for the hotels. Which will then, tell you whether it makes sense to open or not. And then balancing that, with the owner's financial situation, does it make sense to open? What is the demand for that particular market? What are the labor costs? Does it, again, is it prudent to open the hotel?
Are you finding that luxury hotels tend to open later and mid-scale are opening before them? Is that how it's working?
To be honest, it is different again by region. So I would say in the US, what you just said is absolutely correct, where we are seeing the extended stay hotels really doing the best, which logically you would think, okay, that makes sense because extended stay hotels would generally have a little kitchenette. And so you can be fairly self-sustained in that environment. And so we've seen those hotels do really well. We've also seen a lot of the select service hotels do well because even as people are getting out and driving, the drive market are doing well. And so the select serve hotels are recovering faster. Now for luxury, I would say hotels in general, I'd say luxury and premium hotels in general in resort or mountain or countryside locations are tending to do well because that's where people are wanting to go. Not so much downtown, but where can I go where I can feel safe because there's social distancing, I can enjoy the outdoors, national parks, that kind of thing. And I would say by and large, that is the case, not just in the US, but clearly internationally.
So how are you communicating with guests at this time? Because obviously that must be a very important part of what you're doing at the moment, is just keeping in touch with people. And I'm sure you're doing quite a lot of research with your guests as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So what's really important, Peter, particularly when the pandemic started and in the early days, is people wanted to understand what will it be like when I get to a hotel? If I choose to travel, am I confident that you have the right protocols in place? Do I have confidence? Do I have peace of mind that when I get there, it'll be a safe environment? And so we have taken a stance of, communicating to guests from the time that they make the reservation. So it certainly is on our website. We've actually branded our cleanliness program. It's called Commitment to Clean. And that is, again, on our website. When you make a reservation, it is on the confirmation. There's a link back to the specifics of your particular hotel. Is the pool open? Are the restaurants open? Yeah. What is going on in the neighborhood? So for every hotel and every city, that is different. And we give the ability to the hotels to actually update that information so that as a guest, you always have that. So in a pre-arrival email, on your confirmation email, certainly on the website, all of that information exists. And then once the person gets to the hotel, we have, in-room videos that communicate what the cleaning protocols are. We have, signage all throughout the hotel, and clearly the talent and our associates at the hotel are able to communicate that as well. And then, to your point about research, Peter, it has been critical, during this time, during the pandemic, to be able to assimilate, whatever data is out there that helps inform decisions that we make. And so we are looking at, not just research or data at hotels, but what are the macro trends that we need to be looking at? Right? What is going on with how many people are going through TSA? What is going on with the loads in, for airlines? What's going on from a traffic standpoint? Clearly, what is going on, with government and vaccines and et cetera. Also, how are we? What do we deduce from restaurant activity that is in a particular region? Because all of those things point to whether people are comfortable, are they feeling confident, what is the particular situation in a region that will then impact what the hotel needs to do or what the hotel can expect in terms of demand.
Fantastic. And China, of course, is probably coming back first, we're told, but that's internal traffic within China to your hotels in China, I guess. But they say that, I'm hearing that that's going to be back to pretty well where it was within a few months. Is that your research showing that as well?
That's actually fact, Peter. We are seeing currently occupancy in China is in the 60s, which is really good.
Fantastic,
and it actually gives us all hope, right? Because it's wonderful to see the country recover so well. There's such low incidence of coronavirus there now, and they seem to have gotten back to normal, if whatever normal means. in today's world. But they certainly do seem to have things under control, and even business travel is doing reasonably well at this point. Yeah.
And if any research on sentiment around the world, is there a feeling that people want to travel, or do you think people just want to stay put at the moment? I know government regulations are going to stop it, but I mean, what's the sentiment?
Peter, it is in a way very reassuring, I would say, from a travel industry professional perspective, to really hear our consumers have this pent up demand for travel. Travel has gone, honestly, from being a hey, I'd love to do it, to really a primal need. And people are wanting to get out there. They want to go explore. They want to see their loved ones. They are not used to and not happy being confined to their homes, their communities even.
Right.
And are really ready to get out there. And you know this, I mean, we believe that leisure travel will lead recovery,
Right.
Clearly. And that comes from a place, leisure travel comes from a place of passion.
Right.
And people are passionate about wanting to escape their four walls and wanting to go out and explore and learn and discover.
Fantastic. Well, that's good news, because this thing about pent up demand, it's so hard to measure, isn't it? There's only people like you who've got this great research that can really prove it to us, which is fantastic. Really great.
That's right.
So Tina, you lead a huge organization around the world. How have you kept them motivated? I mean, obviously you've had to furlough people, I'm sure. You've lost people, I'm sure, as well. But how are you in such an important role motivating your own teams around the world?
Peter, we did, to your point, we did furlough for a long period of time. And we just brought back most of our associates in late September.
Great.
And what we did actually is we put together a 2-week intensive get up to speed kind of college curriculum, if you will.
Oh, really?
Where we had 3 or 4 hours a day to share with these associates everything that had changed since they left. So if you think back to, if your frame of mind was, call it early March 2020, coming back in at the end of September, the world had changed.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Not just what you read in the news, which of course everyone has is privy to, but really, how are we going to change the way that we do work? What has changed in what we do and how we do it? And that was a huge undertaking. And I wanted to make sure that that my team really had all of the tools, all of the knowledge, to be able to hit the ground running. But in a way, we wanted to go slow to go fast.
Right.
I wanted them to have all of the foundation so that when we were ready, that everyone is on the same page in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, what our objectives are, and how we move forward. I would say, at this point, we're certainly past that re-onboarding, if you will, and people are excited about leading recovery and driving top line, which is effectively what my group does.
Right.
And looking for new and different, interesting ways that we can do it, trying to take inspiration, from other industries, and really ready to sort of chart our course forward.
Is there one industry you're following more than others when you're looking for inspiration?
I think there are some brands that are doing things quite differently, and I think that is fun to look at. I think it's interesting to see. It's interesting and troubling to see what is happening, from a retail perspective. I think what is going on with restaurants is fascinating. As some of them have really sort of pivoted into a delivery only or catering business almost. Yeah. So I think we see pockets of inspiration, throughout.
Fantastic. One of the things I've read a little bit about is you and how you're keeping your brands fresh and relevant, and how you've actually acquired the W in Union Square, so you could in New York, so you can transform it to what the brand will look like in the future. I understand you've done the same with the Sheraton Phoenix downtown property, and you bought the hotel so that you could actually create what the product's going to look like in the future, being fresh and relevant. That sounds really ambitious and exciting. Without giving us details of what you're doing, but the concept, can you talk a little bit about the concept?
Sure. So we have done this several times, to your point, Peter. We did it also with the Charlotte City Center Marriott, when we took over that, we bought that hotel, and did everything from a positioning exercise of what the brand stands for to, how do we want this brand to express itself physically. So from a physical and a design perspective, how we want to express ourselves from a service perspective, which is also part of it. And then at the end of the day, what should the experience feel like to this target consumer? And so it is a formula, if you will, that has worked for us well in the past. To your point of we buy the hotel so that we have a full reign of control, if you will, on how we want to do it, what we want to do, who we engage with, who should the designer be, and then once it's ready, we obviously, it is not our model to hold on to assets, and so we would typically end up selling the asset
and keeping a long-term contract.
Either retaining the management or retaining the flag. Yeah.
So who are you doing this to attract new owners, or is it for training? Why do you do it? Who's your key target audience?
Peter, I'm sorry, I lost you again.
Okay. When you do this, who's the key target audience? Is it owners or is it employees?
A really good point. It is owners, it is consumers.
Really?
Because we do a fair amount of PR around it.
Right.
It's also our business partners, as in corporate accounts. And so, part of the exercise or part of the process that we go through, Peter, particularly on the design side, is make sure that we understand what the consumer wants.
Right.
What does the business traveler want from a Sheraton hotel? What we look at, what types of people actually stay at the hotel, and make sure that the product that we are creating and the experiences that we are creating are really satisfying the needs of the consumer. So certainly owners, from a standpoint of what is the cost to build and cost to operate, and therefore what is the profitability of a brand once it is reimagined, if you will. Right. Certainly from a consumer standpoint, does this resonate in the new world? And of course, from an associate standpoint, it's very exciting to see what the future of a particular brand is and what we want people to aspire to.
Exciting, really exciting. So Tina, in February last year, 2019, you combined Marriott Rewards, Sheraton's, Starwood's Preferred Guest Program, the Ritz-Carlton Rewards into one program called Bonvoy. And that sort of seems to be one platform for doing lots of different things. Back in June at the virtual NYU International Hospitality Industry Investment Conference, I heard Arne Sorensen, your CEO, describe Bonvoy as the platform for all your marketing. He described it as an umbrella brand, so perhaps more than just a loyalty program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So Marriott Bonvoy is a platform, you said it correctly. It is the connective tissue, if you will, that holds the 30 unique brands that we have. It also holds the loyalty program. We also have homes and villas. We have a program called Eat Around Town. We have Marriott boutiques. And we have, so we have all sorts of, we have a publication called Marriott Bonvoy Traveler. So we have all sorts of businesses, if you will, that are supported by and connected by Marriott Bonvoy. And so it is really the way that Marriott International goes out to consumers with Marriott Bonvoy.
And it sounds like, I'm reading your annual report, 11% increase in paid rooms revenue last year from Bonvoy loyalty members, and members' share of occupied rooms topped 52%. So obviously something's working there. I mean, is it because you're constantly communicating with it? Is it because people just want to take points? I mean, what's holding this all together?
Well, Peter, we have 141 million members that are part of Marriott Bonvoy. And what we would like to do is convince and demonstrate to travelers that you don't need anything other than Marriott Bonvoy. We are everywhere you want to be. We have 7,500 hotels worldwide. We have brands from luxury, right, with Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, etc., down to select brands like Fairfield and Courtyard. So we are, in fact, everywhere you want to be for whatever trip, purpose, or travel need. And the value of the points is wonderful. So you can, you can stay and play at any of our locations worldwide. And then, of course, if you are looking for, family travel, and for some reason you need a home or a villa, we have that too. Right. So from a travel perspective, we want to be the world's favorite travel company. Marriott Bonvoy is a wonderful way to sort of join the community and, participate in our world.
During this current pandemic, one of the ones I've seen recently was Work Anywhere with Marriott Bonvoy. Let's stay, let's play, it all seems to come into that. Do you see yourself creating lots of other new ideas like that?
Absolutely, Peter. We, as we spoke of before, we're looking at the trends. We're looking at what is going on around us, and quite frankly, this notion of work anywhere is born from the fact that people are not tethered to their offices anymore. Right. They are able to literally, work from anywhere. Kids are virtual as well. And so why not go out for a change of scenery? And there are, to your point, that we came up with 3 packages, if you will. If you just wanted to leave your home for the day, we can offer you a day pass. 6 a.m. check-in to 6 p.m. checkout, and you can use the hotel as a way to sort of escape home. There may be too many people at home for you to be able to concentrate, or you might require better Wi-Fi. Those are benefits that we're able to offer you. We're able to solve the pain points, if you will. Then there's Stay Pass, if you want to extend your stay a bit and have an overnight stay as well. And then there's Play Pass, which, take your family, go out and, go to a resort, check in for 7 days, and have all of the benefits that you get, when you are on a leisure stay, but you're able to work as well. And then those hotels offer, business services and business concierge, and sometimes, supervised kids activities, help for your kids with school, and that sort of thing. So As things evolve for us, we will continue to come out with new and interesting ways to engage with our members.
Are these being rolled out globally?
Yes, they are being rolled out globally, absolutely. Stay Pass actually is in, I'm going to say 2,000 hotels already. And Play Pass is, I'm going to say 30 or 40 hotels already. So definitely a global demand.
Fantastic, fantastic. So in creating new things like that, from the time you get the idea to the time you can get into the market, it's quite a short time, obviously, if you think back over this pandemic. How long do you give yourselves to get something into market like that?
You know, we try to fail fast, Peter. So we want to go out quickly to see if something works, to get a little bit of feedback from customers, to get a little bit of feedback from hotels. So we're not shy about going out very quickly in a proof of concept kind of mode, if you will, get some learnings and then go big. So I would say, you know, a few weeks is probably correct. Fantastic. And then it depends on the complexity of what you're trying to do, obviously.
Sure. Fantastic. You mentioned earlier that Marriott International is an asset-light company, and 99% of your worldwide hotels are managed or franchised. 58%, I think, are franchise, 41% are management agreements. In 2012, you opened your 500th hotel in Pune, in India, the Marriott Hotel and Convention Center. And I believe you've got 122 hotels now in India and another 63 in the pipeline. What's your development plan in India and the Middle East?
So I'll give you a few more stats there, Peter. In the Middle East, we have 143 hotels open and about 80 in the pipeline. So pretty robust. I would say in the Middle East, our focus, our concentration is on many of the soft brands. So Autograph Collection, Tribute Portfolio, Luxury Collection are doing really, really well. That team is also very excited about the lower end of the scale. So Fairfield and Moxie are two brands that the team is excited about, and they're seeing a lot of opportunities for. In India, we are seeing opportunities across the board, actually. In tier 2 and 3 cities, the select brands, so Courtyard and Fairfield, are in a great place. And then in some of the more primary markets or drive markets from big cities, we have a lot of momentum for the premium brands and, of course, for the luxury brands.
Fantastic. So in India, you also have a master franchise agreement, don't you, with ITC, which I guess you inherited with the Starwood acquisition.
That's right.
Can you give us a nature of what that partnership really means?
Sure. So ITC is a master franchisee, and we have 14 hotels with ITC today, one in the pipeline, which will be in Ahmedabad. And we've enjoyed actually a lovely relationship with the group. Fundamental to that relationship is the fact that we share some core values. You know, the group is very focused on luxury. They are very focused on sustainable luxury. In fact, I believe are touted as one of the greenest luxury hotel chain.
Yes.
And they are very focused on the service that they deliver, as well as putting their associates first. And so the sharing of sort of the commonalities between the two companies is the foundation for a very successful relationship.
Yeah, that's fantastic. A brand extension, which was a little bit of a surprise when it was first announced, it was Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection, which I guess will come to fruition next year when the cruise line industry comes back into business in a big way. How does that fit into your strategy?
It fits in very well, Peter. It is a wonderful extension of the Ritz-Carlton brand that is so well known for legendary service. Ritz is a verb, right? People know it well.
Yeah.
And we think this will be a wonderful way for Ritz-Carlton loyalists to enjoy a different type of experience. The yacht has 149 suites, so it's intimate and it is ultra luxe. And the lovely part of it is that the boat is small enough to go into places that the big cruise liners can't go. So it is a very different type of experience. What's interesting also, Peter, is we've seen from the bookings reports that we have a pretty large number of first-time cruisers ever wanting to take this Ritz-Carlton cruise because it will be quite different.
Right. And that's the key of the cruise industry, getting first-time cruisers on board, I think. So from your point of view, the marketing of the yachts is done by Marriott or is done by the cruise company?
It's done by Oaktree, which is the company that actually runs and owns the yachts. But of course, everything in concert with the Ritz-Carlton brand, which is clearly sits in with Marriott International.
Fantastic, very exciting. And of course, Marriott has an incredible culture, doesn't it? Tell us a little bit about the culture of Marriott.
Really, really wonderful culture. Very much about putting your associates first, very much about if you take care of your people, they will take care of your guests and your guests will come back. Also, very, very high integrity, not only in the work that we do, but in how we do the work. And that sort of permeates, through the associates at every single level of the organization.
And I guess you spend quite a lot of time on that culture, don't you? On working on that culture.
Most definitely, we do, and we have, not surprisingly, not very high turnover.
Right.
And so, in a way, when new people come into the company, they're sort of appended into the culture, if you will. And it is all around you. And people, it's not something that people just talk about. It's really people live it.
So you've had an incredible career. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Let's take us back a little way and tell us how you got to where you are today.
It's a long story, but I'll abbreviate for you. So I was born and brought up in Mumbai in India and lived there, got my undergraduate degree in commerce, which is the equivalent of sort of a business degree, if you will. Moved to the US came to the US when I was 18 to get a master's in hotel and restaurant management, which I did so at the Conrad Hilton College in Houston. While I was in college, I worked at the Four Seasons in downtown Houston. And then right after graduating, joined what was then ITT Sheraton. Right. And I joined their master's program. I worked for the next probably decade in a number of different positions all over the country with Sheraton. And then in 1998, Sheraton and Westin were purchased by Starwood. You'll remember that.
Yeah.
I then had the opportunity to go work at the corporate office for Starwood and moved to New York. Did corporate office roles for a few years. Went back to be the general manager at the Westin in Philadelphia.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
I did. I did. And that's when I made a pivot. Actually, right after that, my hotel was sold, and I had this really interesting opportunity to work for the W Hotel brand. So I moved back to New York City, and joined W as the vice president. And that's when I made this pivot to brand and marketing. Did that for a few years. And then, as you mentioned, in 2008, got a call one day, a little bit out of the blue, from Marriott, from talent acquisition, asking if I would be interested in talking to them. And the rest is history. So the last 12 years at Marriott have been interesting, to say the least. It was particularly wonderful, coming full circle when Marriott bought Starwood back in 2016-17. And so I was rejoined, if you will, with the brands I loved so much at Starwood. So Fantastic. It's been an interesting ride.
Fantastic. So let's take it all the way back now to where we started. How often do you get back to India?
In a non-pandemic time, Peter,
yes.
I would say, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times
a year.
A year. And what I will tell you that all of my family still lives in India. So my mom is there, and my sister and her family, my brother and his family. And whenever I have the opportunity to be, I'm going to say, in the neighborhood. So if I'm in Dubai for business, I'll pop over. It's a 2 or 3 hour flight. It's not a big deal. Even if I'm in Hong Kong, I feel like I'm in the neighborhood, 5.5 or 6 hours. And so I will find a way, even if I'm there only for 2 or 3 days or staying over a long weekend. Again, if I'm in the neighborhood, I would definitely, pop over to say hi.
So it's still regarded as home?
Very much so, very much so. I have, friends that I grew up with, and spent a long time with there. And to be honest with you, when I go back home, it kind of feels like I never left.
I love it. That's fantastic. Long may that continue. So Tina, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us some of your time. It's terrific to catch up with you and to learn about everything you're doing. Congratulations on your new job at the beginning of the year. Who thought it'd be a year like this when you got your promotion? But it's absolutely fantastic to spend time with you, and look forward to doing it again another time. Take care.
Lovely.
Bye-bye.
Lovely to be with you. Bye. Thank you.